fitness, muscles, streams. Today we are watching back to the Big versus Scotland, University of Glasgow, University of Birmingham, Rugby Union fixture. I'm sure it's by how do you?
I'm very happy to be here. It's not the nicest day, but we're going to see some great results.
It's the perfect day for some gritty rugby, don't you think? Sort of flying some tackles under the watchful eye of old Joe. Strikes are right, there's some precipitation in the air. I feel like it might rain. Really looking forward to it, but also just makes, like you say, some interesting these teams in the line. You know, I think it's going to be a good game.
I think it's going to be a really exciting game. I mean, looking at Glasgow this season, its defensive capabilities have been somewhat lacking. They shipped 50 points to Liverpool, shipped 50 points to Newcastle. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for them to score some points today. But well done, you come to the way.
Do you think that Glasgow are going to be impacted by their high scoring outings? Do you think that their defence are going to be impacted by that? I can imagine. I mean, they've probably focused a lot on defence in their training, especially after successive 50-point games. I mean, a good side to build on defence is the Glasgow team warming themselves up, getting themselves quite up to the game. The Bournbrook team, Wales team. I mean, from what you said there, like you said, they're sort of lacking some sort of attacking nuance in a way.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they were restricted to 15 points here against York. A couple of weeks ago, and only managed 5 points before that. So not high scoring. They have a good shift in the still a good start. Still tight in the game.
You know, it's what turn around their form. They thrashed Hamilton 62-17, so it's hard to call this game.
I completely agree. As old Joe is going off, bonging, letting us know that it is 4 o'clock. The Birmingham girls in a huddle in the middle of the pitch. Obviously, teams have been decided. Some people wearing, what I can only describe as the Arsene Wenger coat, obviously keeping warm, getting ready to come on and maybe make a difference, in those latter stages.
Well, Birmingham have got a huge squad here today. They've got 22 players. Glasgow have only brought along 3 impact subs. So
3 substitutes.
Yeah, it's going to be a long day for a lot of those starters for Glasgow, I think.
So do you think Glasgow are going to be quick out the blocks here, or do you think they're going to play the long game? Do you think they're going to,
I think they're going to have to play the long game because, rugby's such an arduous sport. You're going to it's very tough on the muscles, especially as you get to 65, 70 minutes. If you're a forward in that pack, you're going to be struggling in the latter stages of this game, and that's something Birmingham needs to take advantage of with their 7 impact players on the bench.
I think that definitely could come into their advantage though as well. I mean, like you say, as the game goes on, Birmingham have the bench to turn to. They've got those options where Glasgow don't really seem to have the same number of impact subs, like you said, and that does play a role. But also that's going to be in the back of the minds of the Glasgow players. Players that are going to have to pace themselves as they know they're going to play the whole 80, as opposed to the Birmingham players. They can give all they can, and then they know that there are the options on the bench to come on and play. As we get away here at the Bournbrook pitch, it's kicked out wide to the right, and Birmingham pick it up, and they're looking straight away. That's a brilliant run off the start.
Well, Birmingham have broken the defensive line already. Just
the last woman,
and
they've scored already, pretty much. Barring a miracle, Birmingham have got 5 points on the board.
And that's Charlotte Daly who's going to run that in for Birmingham off the left wing, and what a start for the University of Birmingham.
She's the only
in the defence of Glasgow, and this could be a high-scoring affair.
I mean, she's the only Birmingham person to touch the ball at the moment, and she's picked it up. And it was a poor kick. I think you've got to lay the blame with that kick there. It didn't go far enough, and it didn't challenge Daly. It was an easy pick-up, and she was able to run it in and run it straight under the post as well. So it's a great opportunity here for Birmingham to go 7-0 up with barely 30 seconds played.
I mean, that is the perfect start for Birmingham, really, isn't it? 5-0 already off one kick, which I thought was actually a difficult kick to handle for Birmingham because it dropped short, it was fairly flat, and it bubbled, and a lot of players would knock that on. But Daly took her time, got it set, and just blitzed away from that defensive line.
I mean, you have to ask questions of the Glasgow defence there, though. I mean, they almost parted, like, you know, Daly was just saying, can you please move out of the way, and they were like, go for it. There wasn't any challenge, there wasn't anyone being able to keep up with Birmingham's try scorer as the kick is about to be taken.
It's Emily McGuinness, the fullback, who's going to take the kick. Right in front of the post, should be a formality. And
it is. Birmingham go 7-0 up with barely a minute played here at the Bournbrook Pitches. A dream start for the home team. And Glasgow, they're going to have to do it all for here. They're going to have to start again. Hopefully, they will improve. Obviously, the kicker's going to be upset with herself, but
I mean, that's got to be a huge knock to the Glasgow confidence now.
But then again, it's almost like they're starting the game again. They're going to ignore that. They're going to play their own game as the kick again is fumbled by the number 10.
Well, it's got to go 10, so Glasgow can't pick it up.
Referee calls it.
And we're going to scrum down for Birmingham.
And again, that probably is just the pressure getting to the Glasgow 10. I mean, she's had a long journey down here today from Glasgow to Birmingham. Like we said, a bit of an English-Scottish derby here, and she obviously left her kicking legs in Scotland.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's a clear show that is a knock to the confidence. I mean, you build yourself up to get ready to go and start well, you know, get yourselves into the game, let the opposition know you're there, and then if you lose a try within seconds, you're obviously going to get hit, and Glasgow need to pick themselves up straight away. They need a strong scrum here, not necessarily win it, but just put their bodies into it, get right in there, nice and strong, and just regain some composure, regain some confidence that they can.
Also, this is a good opportunity for Glasgow to show their strength in the scrum, and you know, a strong scrum here really lets the Birmingham women know that Glasgow are up for this. And although, you know, they've made a few mistakes early on, as the scrum is contested, it's brilliantly picked up there as it's offloaded to number 6, who's pushing out to the right wing. She's got options. Number 14 down the right hand side. This could be another try for Birmingham here.
It's a lovely handoff.
She could touch that.
Well done.
That was excellent defending there from Glasgow. We were challenging their defensive strength, but they definitely showed there as what almost seemed to be a certain try for Birmingham. Yeah, and out of nowhere, I believe it was number 16.
I think it was number 6.
Number 6.
Rowan Davidson. Good cover tackle from the flanker to support the fullback, Cecily Olsen, who was really trying to stop Jane Ryan on the Birmingham wing, but they couldn't get her down with one player. So the support from the flanker was essential.
But again, that's Glasgow.
Birmingham have won the line out. They've stolen it, and this is a huge opportunity now. Just build the phases on the try line, and Birmingham could be in for a second here.
Thrown up in the air. Number 2's barging through. She's made up some ground as the ruck is being played, and Birmingham still have it in front of the goalpost. 10.
They've gone for the back straight away. None of
There's
this
options
from
on the wing, on the left wing.
And that's a try again for Birmingham.
They cross. You can't say it's not what it's less than they deserve, because it's what they deserve. I mean, they should have had a try on this right hand side, but they picked themselves up after that incredible tackle by that flanker like Aidan was describing. They won the line out, and they've gone up the other end, the other wing, and they've seen it over again. Yeah,
it's Emily McGuinness who turns it in, the fullback for Birmingham, who converted the first kick, of course, and she's going to be taking the kick from her try as well. But it was good from Birmingham. They didn't rush it. You know, they could have, as soon as they won the line out, gone for the try line. They took their time. Only 2 phases, but it just completely opened up on that left-hand side, and Glasgow didn't get across.
It's the pace of the Birmingham transition which really did it for Glasgow there. They just weren't able to get the bodies to that left wing, and it was almost a formality at the end for McGuinness to see it over the line as she lines up the kick here. A bit more difficult than the first one, and it does fall short. It's a good attempt, but that just falls short, and it's now 12-0 to Birmingham here after about 5 minutes of play. And Birmingham definitely on top here at the Bournbrook Pitches.
Well, it's been a hell of a start from Birmingham. That line out was huge for Glasgow. They needed to win it and get out of their own 22 and build some phases and try and get themselves back into some possession in this game, gain some territory, and they just failed to do that because the line out was poor. Birmingham read it, won it straight away, and at that point it was as if Birmingham took their time and played it safe. They
just need to build some pressure here, like Aidan was talking about. they've looked a bit on edge really here. Glasgow is they're almost ball watching.
They are, and they're really struggling to put in strong tackles here, as that goes backwards off the hands of the Birmingham centre, I believe. The ball is definitely slipping out of the hands, but Birmingham making sure it's going backwards, not knocking. They're not strong enough in the tackles. Birmingham are breaking them.
Sophie Adams almost bursting through there. What a turn of pace from the number 7 for Birmingham. Unable to break the Glasgow defence, but Birmingham have the ball here.
Ooh, well taken, because that was low. That was a tough catch. Glasgow actually got low in the tackle, and it was just pure strength from James Ryan to hold it off. But after that, it was just terrible from Glasgow.
So as we have another kick here, Emily McGuinness hoping to make amends for a missed kick earlier. Just drops under the bar.
Again. So that's 1 from 3 now.
1 from 3, 33% kick accuracy. But Birmingham in the lead here. It's 17-0. Under Old Joe, we've played for about 10 minutes. Glasgow need some answers.
Well, we questioned their defensive capabilities before the game, and it's been apparent.
Oh, definitely.
Straight away.
They are just lacking the confidence.
Yeah, they're not strong in those tackles, and Birmingham are breaking through every time. It doesn't matter how many phases they build, they always look set to eventually break through that line.
That's a better kick there from Glasgow. Tony Kerr, number 10.
Oh, knock on for Birmingham. Dropped in the tackle, and this is a good chance for Glasgow.
Well, this is the opportunities Glasgow need to be taking advantage of. As Glasgow as Birmingham make a mistake, but they're strong in the defence and.
Oh, it's loose, and we're going to go back to the Birmingham knock-on, and it's going to be a scrum down, Glasgow put in.
But again, like we said earlier, not all is lost for Birmingham. For Glasgow, sorry. They're 17 points down, but Birmingham scored 17 points in 10 minutes. There's still 70 minutes to go of this rugby match, and Glasgow really need to start building. They need to start using their scrums to their advantage, and they're putting in here. They need to make sure that the ball comes out on their end, that their scrum half is there to receive it. As the Birmingham...
It'll be Caitlin Clark on the put-in here for Glasgow.
As Birmingham sets up their scrum as to Glasgow.
The first scrum was very even.
Yeah, I
Good
don't think it moved. It didn't really move either way.
No, Birmingham opted for the number 8 pickup on the first scrum, and it worked well for them. It opened up the space because there was just no give in the scrum. But that's a beauty of a scrum from Birmingham.
Yeah, they've done very well there.
It's an unplayable ball in the scrum, so we're going to scrum down again. Same put-in. But that was huge from Birmingham.
Birmingham are just asserting their dominance more and more in this fixture as they're 17-0 up, and Glasgow, even in the scrums, just don't have an option.
Well, there's the sign of how confidence makes a rugby game. I mean, Birmingham there just completely overpowered the Glasgow forwards, and it wasn't a contest really in that scrum, and Glasgow were lucky to get away with an unplayable ball and not a penalty against them.
As the Glasgow backs are lined up here, they're waiting to receive, but again, Birmingham start strong in the scrum, but Glasgow have got a strong foundation.
Glasgow managed to get it out.
And they do win it. Tony Kerr offloads, but it's a mistake, but it's picked up there by Lisa Savariu.
James Ryan needs to get out there, and it's a turnover ball. Glasgow just didn't get across to get over in the ruck.
They're almost scared of the ball here.
It was Birmingham could pick it up straight away.
And they do, and they're bursting through here. Molly Chidsey, probably.
Well, there is a huge overload of Birmingham players on this left-hand side, and it's opened up again.
Brilliant.
What a step.
In the forward. I thought that was a forward pass there, maybe.
I think it just went backwards. As Birmingham just breaking tackles, it's just too easy for them.
But Birmingham are offloading so quickly, and that's what Glasgow is struggling with, is the moment the Birmingham players feel that they're getting tackled, they're going to the ground, they immediately offload them. And there's someone waiting there for them.
Well, that's what Glasgow needed when the turnover came about, because it was 2 passes out of a scrum. Your forwards aren't there to ruck over, and Birmingham were quicker out. Glasgow needed to offload because
as Birmingham are charging through here, they're looking for their 3rd try.
Oh, it's a Glasgow penalty. And for all that Birmingham pressure, Glasgow defend well and get out of it.
I think they were more lucky there, with the Birmingham player made the mistake as opposed to their defence holding.
And that kick
strong.
Finds touch for Glasgow, so they'll have a line out just inside their own 40-metre line. Good chance to get themselves away from a bit of pressure here. They need to hold on to that rugby.
Just need to regroup. That's all they need to do. They need to win this line out. They need to hold on, like you're saying. They need to go through them phases.
Yeah.
They just need to have some attacking opportunities. They need to, almost calm themselves down. I think it's been such a shaky start, and they're probably a bit like rabbit in headlights in a way, in that they're just
rabbits under floodlights.
Well, yeah, exactly, under old Joe floodlights. As they just haven't been able to break down that Birmingham defence, and they have been making mistakes. It's not very often you see a turnover in the way that we just did there. Glasgow sort of, unfortunate in a way, but also, they're the makers of their own downfall.
Yeah, Birmingham turning to their bench already. I think that's Fionnuala Morris, who's just come on. Birmingham looking to already, switch it around, get some fresh legs on, maybe give a few players an opportunity who don't normally get an opportunity this early in a game.
As Birmingham win it from the line out, and there's a charge forward there by Morris, who has just gone to the pitch. Early involvement there, as it's offloaded beautifully.
That's Chedzi again, I think.
Charging through, there's shirt pulling going on, but she's going through. That's great determination
that's another
there.
Sign that the Glaswegians just aren't strong in the tackles, because she's broken about 4 and then still able to go again.
And Birmingham should have an opportunity here. There's no one on that wing. It's through, and there's another try for Birmingham. Tia Larkin goes over.
Brilliant try. And again, Glasgow just didn't get across. All of their forwards are set in to make the tackles, and then the backs aren't spread. They need a strong, spread-out defensive line, because otherwise Birmingham are just going to keep cutting through on the wings.
Well, Larkin did it all herself there, but there were 2 players, I believe both wingers, just waiting for the offload, waiting for that pass, and they would have been through. I mean, she's done a number 15. She's done McGuinness a favour there by going over a bit closer to the post. It's not an easy kick here.
Yeah, it's a tough kick. It's harder on this side for a right footer.
But it's 22-0 here. Birmingham have the opportunity to take a 24-point lead in the first 20 minutes of this fixture, and Glasgow just haven't turned up.
They definitely haven't, and there's just no defensive organisation. I mean, what you need is a strong defensive line that's spread out, everyone's level, and you're covering off all of the spaces, and you can rely on each player to cover off their space. It's clear, I think, that Glasgow don't necessarily trust in each player to cover the space, because they're crowding areas, and then that just leaves all of the space on the wings.
It's close. Doesn't quite go over. McGuinness 1 from 4 in her kicks. Just the 2 points so far for the kicker. Well, it doesn't matter.
Actually, she's got 7.
Well, she's got 7. I meant kicking points. 2 kicking points, 5 try points. It's 22-0 here. Birmingham, I think on top is an understatement.
Definitely. Glasgow need a good kick here to get themselves out of a heavy load of Birmingham pressure, because this has just been one-way traffic so far.
Birmingham just haven't been challenged in their defence, and it's almost turning into a bit of an attacking training session for them this early on. That's a better kick.
That is a much better kick. It's held on to by Birmingham though, almost a knock-on.
Glasgow just aren't piling the pressure on. As Birmingham burst through once again, it's just Birmingham just so much more determined than their opposing team today, coming down from Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, Glasgow not backing up the kicker there. It's a much better kick from Tony Kerr actually, and there's just no kind of defensive.
As that's better from Glasgow.
There's just no tackles after the kick, and it just means that Birmingham come again and again.
And again, look at all this space on the right side for Birmingham. If they can win this ruck here.
Finally, actually, Glasgow have seen it and shouted over that they need
ball.
to step across, but it's not had the desired effect.
Great take, but she runs straight into Glasgow's number 3, Humphreys.
McGuinness just needed a quick offload there.
Not Humphreys, Lara Tisson. But Birmingham pushing forwards. There's another phase of play here. I believe this is the 4th player phase. Adams bursting through.
Well, Birmingham
makes
just
up some
building
ground.
phases here.
They are.
I wonder
Good
now
take
if
by
they
Jones.
consider a kick. Well, they don't need to.
They don't need it when they have one of their players bursting through like that. But that's a good strong tackle there, just to calm things down by Glasgow.
And it's a turnover ball.
And Glasgow have won the ball.
And that's a knock-on.
Yep. Referee seeing something he doesn't like
Offside as well against Birmingham, so it's going to be a penalty, not just a knock-on. It's after the knock-on, the Birmingham number 18, who I believe is Katie Johnson, tried to play the ball, and obviously that breaks the scrum from the knock-on to a penalty. as Glasgow tap and go and try and break the defensive line.
But
It's
again,
Chloe Drew.
even in an attempt by Glasgow to catch the Birmingham defence unawares, Birmingham are just, they're able to...
Well, it's
keep
turnover ball again. I mean, I'm interested in the setup in the ruck from Glasgow there, because they were almost trying to scrum over, but they've now stolen it in the ruck.
And it's a turnover there. That's a brilliant win for Glasgow, and they needed to do that.
And
Tony Kerr.
That's Tony Kerr in the ruck, which is very surprising that she's dominated that, because a back in a ruck is not something you'll see often.
As Glasgow have possession now, their wingers just out of play as 11 just can't seem to get behind the ball.
And that's forward. That's gone well forward. Scrum down, Birmingham put in. And the 11 there for Glasgow, Lily Sierra, she stepped up. She stepped past her outside centre.
She wasn't
and
able.
at that point, you know, the pass isn't on. She went way too early. Just got to hold off and wait for the ball.
There's a scrum right in front of us here as Birmingham dominating at the Bournbrook Pitches. It's 22-0 against Glasgow.
I mean, the Birmingham pack has been brilliant so far. They've dominated the scrums. Obviously, as we can hear now, it's a huge kind of team ethic in a scrum. Everyone's working for everyone,
And
and
it's a
it's
poor release, but that Birmingham have it, and they have an attacking opportunity there. It's a nice sort of crisscross there from Jones. Referee's called.
Well, we've got a penalty against Birmingham there. I can't see what it was for, but it's going to be Glasgow to... They tapped and go last time, and they're going to tap and go again here. They back their hooker Chloe Drew to break through this defensive line, and to be fair, she's causing a few problems for Birmingham, but they hold firm for now.
Was Glasgow looking to just get on the score sheet, just get that first try, which could do so much for their confidence here. But the Birmingham defence standing tall once again.
It's a brilliantly set up defensive line from Birmingham. I mean, it's perfectly spread out. There's not any gaps that Glasgow can exploit, and of course
Birmingham have turned it over and they're bursting through. It's a beautiful run there from the number 7, I believe,
that's gone
Adams.
forward though, and it's an advantage for Glasgow.
But again, you can just see the quickness of that Birmingham attack. It's either Adams or it's number 2, the captain, Rosie Ramage.
Definitely, it's another penalty conceded by Birmingham. Glasgow have gone quick there, and they've gained a bit more territory.
They won't mind conceding. They won't mind conceding penalties there in that position where Glasgow have not actually had the ball in their half.
Well, Birmingham just need to watch their discipline though. You're ahead in a game, you know. You need to just maintain control. Giving away too many penalties is just going to cause
fumble.
problems.
That's a beautiful fake offload there, as the Rockers had. But the Birmingham holding strong there. Glasgow unable to make any ground in that ruck.
It's an interesting ruck technique, I think, because they're not rucking over as much as they're just kind of backing each other up in a conga-esque ruck technique.
But if you look at Birmingham's defensive line there, they were all ready to pounce.
And that is a
hands
hell
on
of a
knees.
ruck from Birmingham, but it's going to go back for a penalty against them again. Huge shunt.
What was the reason behind the penalty?
It's on the other side of the pitch. I can't quite see it. You're
referee
also
looked like
questioning my
your rugby refereeing knowledge here. It looked like the referee was constantly taking something and putting it back into his pocket. I don't know if that failing to release potentially, but like you say, it was a great ruck there from Birmingham, and there is a player down here.
Yeah, Birmingham picked up an injury. I think Glasgow have got an injured player down there as well. The medical bag is ran on.
Both teams feeling the impact of that strong challenge from the ruck.
Well, you know, it's a high octane sport. You're gonna get hit. You're gonna get hurt. Hopefully, she's gonna be all right to carry on. It's Jordan Day in there for Birmingham, and she looks to be walking off the pitch okay. I'm not sure if she'll carry on. Yeah, it looks like she's being replaced, which is a bit of a shame.
As the fog starts to come down, there's a bit of drizzle here as well. So, you know, more Scottish conditions, you'd argue.
Yeah.
Maybe this could suit the away side here. But Birmingham just don't look like they're in any trouble. They don't look really like they've broken a sweat yet.
No, definitely not. And they've been so solid defensively, but Glasgow just don't seem to have a way through. And as soon as Birmingham turn it over, then it's just high octane, fast-paced attacking rugby from Birmingham, and the ball movement is quick, they're breaking tackles, and it's just hard to handle for the Glaswegians. You know, so it's a very, very strong half so far from Birmingham, and they can only build on it now, I'm sure.
I completely agree, and just, you know, Glasgow look like they're in a promising position, and then Birmingham are going to win that turnover, and they're going to win the ball, and then out of nowhere they're bursting through the Glasgow defence, and the Glasgow defence just don't have time to reassert themselves, and that's where, you know, Birmingham's tries have come from. It's been that quick turnover and Glasgow just being unable to set themselves.
Yeah, definitely. As I think Glasgow are going to lose Rowan Davidson here, their flanker. It's a bit of a shame that we've lost 2 players to injury there in that ruck. Hopefully they will both be okay to come back on later in the game, because we never want to see any player getting hurt.
Oh no,
especially not in a game that's been this good so far.
Oh yeah, you're completely right, and you know, it's a long journey down from Glasgow. It would definitely be disappointing for the Glaswegian player that's gone off.
Davidson looks like she's struggling over there on the far side on the bench. Hopefully she can continue later on in the game. As Glasgow turn to Chloe Drew, the hooker, again to drive through the defensive line of Birmingham.
It's a good challenge though from Birmingham. Good tackle. Is the ruck again? Is that conga formation as Ada spoke about? It's fumbled. It's a turnover, and the ball is wet here. I think that's why people.
Well, it's very misty.
Birmingham, that is sent her the wrong way as it played out. Birmingham should score here.
And the fullback stepped up, and there's no response now. Jane Ryan's going in for her second try.
She's going to run it under the posts.
She is going to run it under the posts. Brilliant play from Jane Ryan.
I saw Lucy Gardner coming from the other side of the pitch.
Well,
and Jane Ryan just sent her for a bit of a twirl underneath the post, and it's another opportunity for Birmingham to score a 7-point try. That's 27-0. And we're not even halfway through the first half yet, really.
Well, I think 25 minutes
25.
gone now.
Not even halfway through the game, sorry.
It's Jane Ryan again. She is flying down this right wing. As it's going to be Sophie Jones now kicking in place of Emily McGuinness.
So McGuinness with a modest 25% success rate, 1 from 4. Turning to the number 10, Sophie Jones.
But again, it's Glasgow not getting across onto their left wing, Birmingham's right wing. In the defensive line, they're just not stepping across, and they're not covering off the space. And Ryan takes advantage again. As it's a nice kick.
Brilliant kick. That's much better there from Birmingham. And Jones sees the conversion. It's 29-0 now. And you'd have to say this game is basically over now. Despite the length of time left, but from what I've seen from Glasgow so far, I just don't see a way back for this team from Scotland.
Well, no, it's especially with the way the game's going. It doesn't look like Glasgow are going to score, and it always looks like Birmingham are going to score when they get on the ball. But they can't compete.
I know Birmingham are 27-0 up, but I think
29
now. Sorry, of course the conversion going over the post. I just think Birmingham's defence deserves as much credit as their attack. They are so organised. Here again, Glasgow. It's a good win there though.
And that's a penalty. Birmingham leaning over, trying to pick the ball up straight from the ruck. Can't do that when the ruck is formed.
As they kick to touch. But again, the Birmingham players are set. They know their positions. But Glasgow bursting through here.
Oh, that looked a bit high.
That did look like,
I think just below the shoulders.
Oh, go on.
As Tony Kerr breaks through a couple challenges here for Glasgow, and this is their first foray into the Birmingham 22. Hopefully,
Birmingham just got to make sure they remember what they did in training. They've got, and they are looking strong here. But
this is much better rugby from
Glasgow. Number 1, Davies tries to burst through to no avail, but she makes some ground up.
Glasgow offloading well here in this drive,
but they've just got to make sure that they hold on to the ball, because they have been guilty of losing it. As Tony Kerr trying to make things happen, she seems to be all over the pitch.
It's one of the old.
And Chloe Drew there, picking it up out of the ruck, looking to drive, and
feels more like
this is a hell of a drive from Glasgow, building up the phases.
This is much better.
Definitely. I mean, the passing intensity has been much better. They're moving the ball so quick. There's so many offloads. They're quick out of the rucks. They're not hanging about and waiting for Birmingham to set up again. They're taking advantage of quick, fast-paced rugby, and it's what Birmingham have done so far to Glasgow.
But again, the Birmingham defence is holding strong here. Glasgow don't seem to have made up any any ground in a while as they do now.
Yeah, it was
charging through
it's a
potentially.
brilliant reverse pass from Tony Kerr, looking to go one way, goes the other, and the referee sees no gain for Glasgow, and it goes back to the penalty that they won earlier on. So they're going to kick for the posts. No, they're going to tap and go.
Tap and go there from Glasgow. Looking to score their first points here on Bournbrook. Currently trailing 29-0.
Birmingham just need to hold in here, hang in there, and that's knocked on.
Fumble, and Birmingham could be through it. They could turn a Glasgow attack into their own.
Well, I don't know if they've got the pace to get away. It was a brilliant
challenge.
recovery tackle. Sarah Griffin was breaking away there for Birmingham.
And Glasgow have actually gained possession from that.
It's a knock-on. It's a knock-on by Glasgow.
Yeah, the ref's seen that, and that's good.
It is
quick refereeing there.
It is drizzling quite a bit now, actually. So the notebook of names is going away.
Excuse us, as Aidan doesn't want his notebook to get wet.
It's got lots of important notes in there. Need to keep that preserved. So maybe numbers will be the way we identify players for a while now.
There's about 10 minutes left here in this first half. Birmingham on top, but there's a scrum. Birmingham putting it in.
Yeah, it was a Glasgow knock-on. Strong tackle from Birmingham, but again, Glasgow, you know, they built so much pressure, and then it's just a fumble that's really built on the fact that Birmingham forced them into so many phases there. As Glasgow wheeled a scrum, but Birmingham get it out before it turns 90. And look at the space over on this right wing.
Short pass though.
Jane Ryan driving, looking for a hat-trick.
That right-hand side, she's made it her own this game. And again, she makes space, but she's not able to go all the way this time, but it's picked up there by the number 8. Makes up some ground before going into the ruck, as Birmingham strong from the ruck so far, I believe.
Birmingham look to play it down the short side here out of the ruck, and Larkin keeps it in play. Avoiding touch. Morris tackled to the ground, but Birmingham look to hold on to possession. Oh, and that's definitely a penalty. Offside, can't be going into the tackle there with the ball ready to play, and Birmingham will tap and go.
Birmingham ready to pounce.
Oh, and they've broken straight through. Well, you talk about pouncing, but it's held up brilliantly. It's held up. What a magnificent tackle on the try line from Glasgow.
She seemed almost over the line there.
I think it's the Glasgow fullback, Olsen, who did brilliantly to swing the Birmingham 7 around, hold up the ball, and now it's going to be a try line dropout for Glasgow to try and relieve some pressure, which
picked up here.
Well, it's made it out of the 22, which does relieve some pressure, but not a lot, as Emily McGuinness kicks through, but straight into the hands of her opposite number, who kicks it into touch.
Shouts of look at where we are. They are attacking, and again the pressure is on Glasgow.
Well, Birmingham now with a line out inside Glasgow's 22. This is a huge opportunity. Bear in mind, right at the start of the game, we saw what Birmingham could do when they won a line out in this kind of area. Now they can decide their own sets straight out of this line out. They'll be wanting to win this comfortably and then work it through the backs, maybe a few set plays, and they should slide in under the posts if they're lucky.
Pressure on Glasgow then from this Birmingham line out in their 22.
It's actually going to be the prop who delivers this line out, which is slightly unconventional. Usually the
BUCS Rugby for you,
hooker throwing in. It's referee just making sure that the line out is equally spaced. And Birmingham do win it comfortably, but unconventionally, and it's knocked on.
And you could see there, when the ball was held up, it was a bit closer to the floodlights, you can see some dew coming down onto the ball now. So it is a wet ball, so bear that in mind.
I mean, there's a lot of moisture in the air.
I completely agree with that, Aidan.
It's misty, dewy, a little bit drizzly.
It's a perfect evening for rugby.
Perfect.
Here at the Bournbrook Pitches.
Perfect evening for knock-ons.
Yeah. Balls sliding all over the place.
So Glasgow will put into the scrum on the line of their 22, and it's a huge drive, by the way, from the Birmingham pack, and they don't win the penalty. It's going to be a free kick for Glasgow.
I mean, despite the fact that the referee saw something he didn't like there, that was a brilliant scrum for Birmingham.
I mean, there's huge strength in that Birmingham pack. You can see it. They're driving. Glasgow back every single scrum. As Glasgow have got another player down. We'll have to hope that they don't lose another player.
Like we say, Glasgow are only travelling with three subs, and they've already used one. Well, one's running the line here.
From my intuition, I've managed to listen in on some player chat, and the Birmingham forwards not happy with the decision in that scrum. Obviously, that's not mentioned directly to the ref, because this is not football. This is rugby.
Yeah, they respect the referees in the sport, but that's a brilliant drive there.
McGuinness has broken two tackles, and Birmingham are driving right back at Glasgow. The free kick not getting Glasgow out of trouble, really.
Let's play forward again, and Birmingham on the attack here. They've burst through once again. They could be in for their fifth try. But they put the ball down.
Well, it's a second try for the Birmingham left winger.
And it's a 4th overall for Birmingham here. 35 minutes gone. 34-0. Birmingham in fine form here, and Glasgow just haven't turned up. But what a move again from Birmingham. We were saying earlier about their ability to burst through the Glasgow defence, and that was perfect evidence of that. They moved it quickly to the left-hand side, charged forward.
It's Charlotte Daly who ran it in.
Charlotte Daly said it was second try of the game.
Yeah, so Charlotte Daly and James Ryan, both on the wings for Birmingham, have now got 2 tries each. So I'm sure they'll be competing as fellow wingers to grab the most tries in the game. And what is that now? That's 6 tries, I believe, for Birmingham, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken. As we await the kick. It's fairly difficult, but it's a good contact and it's a good kick. And that makes it 36-0 to the University of Birmingham here at Bournbrook Pitches, as Old Joe shows 25-5 this evening. Glasgow look to regroup again. They've just had somewhat of a huddle behind the posts, I think trying to G each other up as they do their customary shout as they step out, and it'll be Tony Kerr to kick again to see if Glasgow can get themselves back into this game and prevent Birmingham scoring yet another try. So obviously the Birmingham forwards' annoyance at the scrum decision didn't affect it too much. They actually seem better when they're breaking through the defensive line on the halfway line. They've got some legs, these Birmingham wingers.
They have.
As Birmingham look to come again here.
It's a good tackle there from Glasgow to slow down the play again.
And that is knocked on. But Glasgow pick up the ball, so the referee will play advantage.
So Glasgow look to burst through here. Playing well. I think the scoreline is a bit unfair on these Glasgow players, I think.
Well, there's been a golfing class today.
I disagree. I don't think Glasgow have been as bad as the scoreline presents. I think Birmingham have played really well. I think I've heard that a lot of these Glasgow players, it's the first time playing at this level, and also it's a long journey down to do in a day. So I think, you know, it's very easy for Birmingham to rock up from Selly, for Glasgow to travel all the way down and to provide us with a very entertaining game of rugby, and hopefully, you know, that they're building some pressure here, and hopefully they can you know, get the try that I believe, you know, some of that pressure earlier. That attacking play earlier was brilliant, and it did deserve a try at the end of it. And
yeah,
and hopefully
definitely.
Glasgow can.
I think it would be nice to see Glasgow get a score on the board. It definitely hasn't been this dominant of a performance, but Birmingham do look by far the better side, and they do deserve to be in the lead here, comfortably. Not this comfortably, but definitely comfortably, because Glasgow just don't have the defensive organisation that their opposition today have shown.
That's a great challenge there, though.
Jane Ryan looking to drive down the right wing again, and her foot has just stepped into touch, I believe. Yes, it's a line out for Glasgow. The left boot of Jane Ryan just flicking the touchline, and that's enough to award Glasgow a line out. And it looks like there's another injury in that Glasgow side.
Seems to be some discomfort.
Yeah, it's a real shame.
It's horrible to see, isn't it?
It is. It's a real shame, actually. It's never nice to see someone getting hurt. And I think that's going to be the end of the game for the inside centre for Glasgow. She looks like she's going to carry on.
Great determination there from the inside centre to keep going despite the discomfort she obviously wanted to give her all for the team, as I think Glasgow have done so far.
Glasgow's struggling as well with the lack of substitutes they've got on the bench. You know, they can't make the amount of replacements that Birmingham can, so struggling with these injuries is going to really affect them. As that was high, well, from Glasgow's scrum half. She was good to back out there, otherwise she could have been in trouble conceding a penalty. Birmingham look to build phases again, so they look to switch it to the left-hand side, where no doubt Charlotte Daly will be waiting to run in a hat-trick try. And it's
great play here from Birmingham.
What an offload that is.
Still
Birmingham
has it, but
breaking
goes
through the
down for the
defensive line
ruck.
again.
Glasgow there in numbers though. They've done well to soak up the pressure here.
Yeah, and Birmingham will look to drive now with the forwards, see if they can break through the line with strength rather than quick passing play. And that looks to be happening. What a brilliant shunt, if you will, there from Birmingham's number 7, I believe.
Birmingham once again have possession, but that's a good interception there from Glasgow, and they'll be hoping they can build, gain the ball, but it looks like Birmingham still have it. Glasgow lining up their defence. That's a strong challenge there. Can't catch the number, it's the other side of the pitch.
I think Birmingham
looking to push through again though, but that's another great challenge. And the thing is, the scoreline could be a lot better if Glasgow's back forwards hadn't put in the performance they had done so far.
Well, there's a try.
But there is a try.
They built the phases, Birmingham. I was just going to say maybe they need to look at switching it at this point to the right wing where there's space. But the forwards have done the job. Unfortunately, it's way too far away from us to see who actually ran it across the try line. But it's 41-0 now to Birmingham. And what a magnificent first half from them.
I think the thing is, we can't really take much away from Glasgow. Like I said, it's a long journey down. I think Birmingham have just been on their A game today, and they've been playing, some of the best rugby I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's been brilliant.
And it's just been unfortunate for Glasgow because they have played well and they have been solid in defence and have been able to keep the scoreline down in a way. I mean, it's already quite high, but the scoreline definitely doesn't reflect Glasgow's performance. I think it is quite unfair on these women that have done, they actually played admirably, and they'll be hoping, that is reflected in the second half. Maybe it will be. I mean, like I said, it's a long way to come down, and
yeah,
like
Sophie Jones,
it's been a great
kick.
game of rugby so far. As it's a brilliant kick, and
Sophie Jones is 3 out of 3 from her kick from the boot, and that's half time.
That's half time here at the Bournbrook Pitches. Current score: Birmingham University 43, Glasgow University 0. We're going to have a quick break, and we'll join you during the second half.
We've got some hate comments on the yeah, that's why I'm starting to. is forcing through.
As you join us back live here at the Bournbrook Pitches, where we're about to witness the second half of this BUCS League fixture. Currently, Birmingham University 43, Glasgow University 0. It's been a good performance so far from the Glasgow side. That, you know, a lot of injuries we've been informed, and also a lot of players making their debut. And like we said, the scoreline doesn't really reflect their performance on the pitch. I think they've played well. They've made some brilliant tackles. They've had some strong scrums, and obviously after a long week of also playing another game and a long travel down, I think it's worth just noting that as Birmingham start this second half, shooting towards the engineering building, Glasgow shooting towards the tennis courts, and once again joined by Aidan Clark. Exciting second half of rugby ahead of us.
I hope so. I hope it can be a really good contest in the second half. It's got dark now, so the floodlights really shining down on the pitch.
As Glasgow bursting through the Birmingham defence with some...
Well, that's a brilliant drive there. And Glasgow have got the penalty. Again, Birmingham's discipline not there.
But Glasgow have done well. They've won a lot of penalties. They just need to be able to build on that.
Yeah, definitely. If they can convert some of their kind of control of the ball into tries, then this can be a much closer second half, I think, because it's clear that they're causing Birmingham a few problems. It's just Birmingham have exploited the problems they've caused Glasgow.
But Birmingham have a player down here. I believe it's a half-time substitute as well, so that's not what you want to see. Less than a minute into that first half. Hopefully she's all right, and hopefully she can continue. It'd be a shame. She looks to be getting...
Yeah, we've been hit by quite a few injuries in this game, actually. It's not nice to see. Both sides struggling in that first half, and already another one in the second half.
You know, there's a round of applause here from the crowd. Number 19 walks off, but I think it just replicates the intensity of this game. I mean, it has been closer than the scoreline represents, and also it's been a great game of rugby. I think both teams really have come to play attacking rugby, and it's obviously come off more for Birmingham, but Glasgow here have an opportunity to change that. As that's a brilliant try forward there.
Again, it's Chloe Drew who looks to carry out of the penalty, but it's a penalty now for Birmingham.
Penalty, I believe, failing to release as Birmingham start quickly charging forward here.
Both sides seem to drive with their hooker
Glasgow
out
defending in numbers. Birmingham drive through there with great determination. Glasgow line up to defend. It's fumbled there by number 18. And the referee blows his whistle.
I think the moisture in the air is definitely affecting this game now. I mean, it's almost even more misty.
It is, and I mean, they're talking in the T20 World Cup in cricket at the moment about the dew playing a factor, and I think the dew on the rugby ball here is also playing a massive factor.
It definitely is. As we have our first scrum of the second half, let's see how it goes. Glasgow are going to put in. Birmingham's pack seemed to control the scrums in the first half, I believe. although
So here we go, the scrum's
their
underway.
discipline again wasn't there.
It's very even, but Glasgow, that's a good scrum from Birmingham, but Glasgow have it.
Glasgow get it out quickly with the number 8 pickup.
Challenge there for Birmingham, but there's a ruck going on here. Glasgow still have the ball, that's well held on to there.
And that's a penalty.
It's a penalty, and Glasgow going to be looking to start. This is a lot better from Glasgow in the second
Definitely.
half.
And again, Birmingham's discipline letting them down a
Yeah.
little bit. They are too eager there in that ruck.
Ooh, they've done well there to avoid a boot hitting a head. That could have been nasty, but it's another ruck here, and Glasgow still seem to have the ball. Glasgow lining up an attack here. This, this younger side, a lot of players making their debut. They definitely haven't
That's
embarrassed themselves
unfortunate.
today. I think a lot of these debutants, a lot hit by injuries, like we said, should definitely hold their heads high, and they can go back to that long drive back to Scotland. I'm glad I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
this
it's
evening.
a long way to travel.
I just want to thank the Glasgow team for coming down today. I mean, a lot of teams would have just not fancied it, but they're getting the rugby and they do love the rugby. I think we've heard that they do play 2 games a week, which is just great for the team, and it is just good to see that there is a contest here, and the second half, like you say, has been pretty even.
Yeah, and that's a hell of a scrum from Birmingham, and it's opened up on the right-hand side for them now. But it's good defensive play from Glasgow, and it's knocked on by Birmingham, and it will be another scrum in this half. This time with a Glasgow put in. Birmingham were quick out the scrum there, look to move it through the backs, but it's another lapse in concentration in the second half, I'd say, as the ball slips out of the hands.
Yeah, Glasgow have the opportunity here from the scrum to gain some yardage.
It's might become a lot slower pace of a game in the second half, with a lot of scrums already going on in this first 5 minutes that we've had of this second half. It'll be interesting to see if the pace of the game picks back up, because it's been very stop-start as we've got back underway. There's a slight delay.
Yeah, another injury here for a Birmingham player, which is, like you said, not great, which is horrible to see, but number 2, I believe, is down. Or maybe just tying her laces up.
We'll hope it's tying the lace.
Yeah, let's hope so. Because it would be a big miss for another player to go out injured in this game.
And it looks like she is okay, as we're going to get ready for the scrum now. Glasgow will put in, bang on the halfway line, just slightly to the right.
In front of us here, old Joe beaming down, clock face alight.
And the referee not happy with the setup in the scrum, so he will reorganise, both teams will reorganise, and we'll look to go again. And the referee not happy again. Birmingham's discipline letting them down again, and Glasgow will have the free kick for the second time in this match. Birmingham conceding the free kick in the scrum.
Yeah, Birmingham's discipline has really been awry. I mean, they can afford to do with such a huge lead, but also Birmingham will want to come out of the game with all aspects.
Oh, that's a good take. That's
all
a really good
aspects of the
take.
game. And as Glasgow driving forward here is my wittering on about. But Birmingham regain possession.
Oh,
That's a brilliant challenge right in front of us here.
Great tackle that is.
And again, that's another good challenge. Glasgow really putting themselves on the line here in the second half.
As Birmingham still look to drive.
Glasgow,
Huge noise
yeah.
from that Glasgow defensive line. You can tell in the second half that they've come out here and they've made a real difference in that defence. The defence is so much stronger in the second half, and it's having a huge impact. It's meant the game is so much more even. As Glasgow look to drive in that ruck, and Birmingham have just about got it out and held on to possession.
That's a brilliant challenge there from Glasgow to halt Birmingham's progress, and Birmingham, just not really able to make up the ground as they were in the first half. It's a lot more resilient defence here from Glasgow, and it's great to see it. It allows a much more even game of rugby, and I'm all for it.
Definitely. I mean, we've seen some upwards of 6 or 7 phases here, maybe even more than that, and Birmingham have gained about 10 yards in total. And look at that for driving back.
Brilliant challenge for Glasgow. They're really coming out the blocks here. Number 12 seems to have injured herself, but I mean, driving their Birmingham 16 back 10 yards there. What a probably challenge of the game.
Definitely, it was a huge tackle that.
And it's allowed Glasgow to regroup. Birmingham almost don't really know what to do with all these phases. They've had it so they're all their own way. But Glasgow and their debutants are definitely doing their university proud here.
That's why Glasgow needed to be so tight, because as some phases build, you're just expecting a mistake to come. And there it is. Birmingham knocking it on. But I think the referee... Yeah, it's going to be a scrum down, Glasgow put in. There was no advantage in the drive, so we'll see another scrum in the second half. As I think the teams playing after this are just arriving now.
Yeah, so we are also live streaming the following fixture, which is men's rugby union between Birmingham University and Newcastle University, I believe. So stay on the stream for that, as this game nears the 50-minute mark. No score yet in the second half.
As Glasgow put into the scrum, it's wheeled round by Birmingham, and Glasgow get it out.
And I've been told that it will actually be a separate stream for the men's game, so that link will be available on the UB Sport Fitness YouTube channel. And make sure to tune in. Joe Camp, my deputy head of sport, and Bella Shepherd-Evans making a commentary debut. So a great commentary team to see through that one as well. There's Joe, old Joe, letting us know it's the top of the hour. Another scrum here. That was a good scrum from Birmingham there, but Glasgow did well to recover themselves.
Yeah, Birmingham as well almost stole it. About
35 metres out from Glasgow's post, he knocked on onto the scrum here, and Glasgow was put in again. Birmingham really looked to wheel that scrum last time, and they've done that again here.
The referee sees something he doesn't like.
Well, I think the scrum move around 90, so it's going to be put backward.
by Glasgow.
It's been a good contest,
Scrums, especially in the second half, we've seen a lot of them, and it's been even, I'd say.
It has been a very even game this second half, and neither team really being able to break down the other. But it's been a great contest of rugby so far.
Yeah, we've had a long period of Birmingham possession that didn't gain much ground. Glasgow have gained ground in their periods of possession, and it's
better scrum here.
Other than
Glasgow.
that, it's been a lot of scrums.
And Birmingham unable to gain the ball as Glasgow have it, but Birmingham piling on the pressure.
Yeah,
here.
that's a huge reaction from Birmingham out of the scrum, and I think they've actually potentially turned it over here. They have indeed. Birmingham have the ball about 5 metres out from the Glaswegian try line.
That's a brilliant challenge. Number 7 looking for her options and just given no time with the challenge, but Birmingham driving down this left wing.
Well, if there was an offload there were two Birmingham players ready to drive over the line, and it's knocked on. 5 metres out.
Birmingham will be ruining their chances there to add to the score, potentially reach the half century with a converted try.
Well, Birmingham made it down towards this left wing, and the number 16 picked it up, and there were two Birmingham players hanging on the touchline to her left. A little offload, and Birmingham would have surely been in to score the try.
But that was a great challenge there on the Birmingham number 7 by the Glaswegian.
Yeah, it's definitely good defending. But Birmingham really could have took advantage there of another overload on the wing.
To scrum very close to the line here. Glasgow will be wanting to make sure their defence remains resilient, preventing Birmingham from adding to their score.
Another Glaswegian scrum.
Birmingham wheeling around again. They release early, but Glasgow win it, and it's a brilliant kick out there by the Glasgow.
It's a good kick out, and it's
fumbled, and Glasgow could be,
it's bamboozled Emily McGuinness there for a second.
She swung
swung
around there.
The intensity in these tackles has really picked up in the second half. From both sides, to be honest. The tackles have been huge in the
Birmingham
second
have the ball. It's another good challenge by Glasgow. They actually win the ball.
Turnover.
They're going to be driving forwards. But Birmingham...
And that's what I mean. Yeah. Both sides have really picked up the tackling intensity in this second half. They're huge tackles coming in.
Great rugby being played here as Glasgow look for the way through. But Birmingham shutting the door. As they have another ruck, they'll look to offload. They play it. Glasgow have the options on the wing. Birmingham in numbers, defending well.
Glasgow get the ball out of a tight ruck there, and it's another huge tackle.
These tackles have been absolutely massive from both sides in this second half.
Glasgow pick it up now, and a few tackles broken there, and it's knocked on. And Glasgow dive on it first, which means it's going to be a scrum down with a Birmingham put in. But the defensive tackles in this second half have been huge. I mean, some great hits in the second half.
Like I said, it's just a very entertaining game of rugby so far here at the Bournbrook Pitches.
It's neither side can seem to break through the defences in the second half. It's very even.
This has been an excellent game of rugby.
Other than the one opportunity that Birmingham had, there's not been a clear-cut chance for either side in the second half, as we see another scrum.
Glasgow putting in. No, Birmingham putting in, sorry. Glasgow Scrum hold firm there. And it's a brilliant challenge. They're not letting her go. The Glasgow number 9. Another spin around from 14. That's the second time she's done it, and she's done it to great success again. As Birmingham look for a way through, and Glasgow in numbers again. Challenge with great success. And it's a fumble there from Birmingham. And Glasgow could pick it up, but it's brilliantly won back by the number 4 for Birmingham. She's charging through, but she's going nowhere. Glasgow are holding her back brilliantly there.
The referee there, interestingly seeing that as not a knock-on. It looked like it went forward for me. And Birmingham win the penalty.
They're going to kick the goal. No, they tap and go. They charge forward, almost catching Glasgow unaware there. But Glasgow do well.
Birmingham stepping now inside the Glaswegian 22.
Only the second time they've ventured this far forward in this half. It's been a brilliant, resilient defensive display here from the Glaswegians in the second half.
Emily McGuinness there coming round the back of the scrum half to pick that up, looking to drive through, but it's well shut off, and that's a loose pass.
Just wasn't anyone awake, but that's a brilliant challenge off the ball though. I'm loving this.
Birmingham hold on to possession, and they have 4 players on this left-hand side. They can't find any of them, as another strong tackle comes in from Glasgow, and there is another knock-on and another scrum down in this second half. In fact, Glasgow have actually picked the ball up, so we're not going to scrum down straight away.
Glasgow have it, and she's charging forward there. She's made up some serious ground. This is some high-octane rugby here at the Bournbrook Pitches. Glasgow look to break this Birmingham defence down, but Birmingham so strong in their challenges, as Glasgow have been in this second half.
Yeah, and it's fumbled, but I think the referee's going to bring it back for the initial knock-on by Birmingham. The advantage still lasting, so Glasgow will put into another scrum in this second half.
There's a police siren, Wales through Bristol Road, just behind us here at Bournbrook Pitches. It's another scrum here. I've really enjoyed watching this rugby game so far. It's been
this second half has been a real physical.
It's great to see the support for the Glasgow team on the YouTube live stream as well. Supporting in numbers, supporting the Badgers in what has been a brilliant performance from a lot of sort of new players, we're told, debutants, not played together for very long. And
so that scrum is wheeled perfectly by Birmingham.
Definitely done themselves proud here.
And they turn over the scrum. And that's offside. There's an advantage. Obviously an unintentional offside, but still
Birmingham,
penalised.
Misplayed pass, but they also pick it up. The noise from the Birmingham bench is loud, but the noise from the Glasgow defence is also loud as Birmingham burst through, but it's a brilliant challenge once again. Almost a try-saving challenge there, I'd say, from the Glasgow.
Yeah, definitely. It's a huge tackle there. We've seen quite a few of them so far in this game from Glasgow. Brilliant cover tackles, and I think we're actually going to see a penalty there that I think has gone Glasgow's way, and we see more players down hurt, which is not a good sign.
The medic runs on.
It's a real shame. There actually looks to be a lot of discomfort for the Glaswegian player on the pitch there. Hopefully she is.
Hopefully
going
not
to be
adding
okay.
to Glasgow's injury troubles.
Yeah, this will be a real shame if she's hurt badly. It's difficult for us to see. Obviously, we don't want to comment on too much if she's badly hurt.
No, she
Both
seems to be
sides
down.
gather into a huddle. So I think in this moment as she has sat up, so that's a good sign. We'll talk about how tight and physical the second half has been.
I mean, it's been brilliant to watch. Glasgow definitely improving. I mean, they played well in the first half, but were unfortunate with some of the errors that were made, and Birmingham actually just dominated. The Birmingham performance, don't want to take anything away, was top notch. Unfortunately, Glasgow unable to really deal, but I don't think many teams would have been able to deal with the onslaught that Birmingham had in that first sort of 20 minutes. But they've come out the blocks in the second half, Glasgow, and have played brilliantly. They've been a lot stronger in defence. They've played together as a team and as a unit, and they've been loud in the field. They've been shouting, communicating with each other, which is great for a team to see, especially with a team that has so many injury problems at the moment. And like we said earlier, debutants that are playing their first BUCS game, and they've put in a great performance. Like I said, especially in the second half, where Birmingham just haven't been able to cross over that try line, but they haven't had many opportunities.
I think that's a perfect summary, really. As we'll get started again, it's a Birmingham penalty.
Birmingham penalty, tap and go, or are they going to kick for it?
Well, with the kicking that we've seen from the Birmingham fly half in this game, I wouldn't be surprised if she kicks for the post, because she's kicked really well in that first half. I think we are actually going to scrum down, so I don't know what I'm seeing.
No. Bit of a scrum here, but I've really enjoyed these scrums, especially in the second half. The scrums have been so evenly contested, I believe. I mean, neither side has really been able to gain a major advantage. As the Birmingham putting the ball here towards they're just inside their 22. Could be an opportunity here, but Glasgow...
I wonder if we'll see the Birmingham number 8 pick this up. In fact, it's the scrum half who's picked it up and drives for the try line.
But brilliant defence from Glasgow. I think that was a try-saving tackle there. She tries to go over, but the ball...
Birmingham put the ball down, and I think the referee has decided that this is held up. I mean, we cannot see anything from over here. Didn't see an arm raised from the referee, so yeah, the ball was held up, in fact, so Glasgow will drop out from the try line. And again, more strong defending from this Glasgow team in the second half. That's a good kick.
Agree.
That's a very good clearing kick, actually.
As Glasgow they're quick out the blocks. They want to score, but 22 here on the left-hand side. 12 for company. Is she going to see it over? And she does.
Birmingham grab another try in this game, the first of this second half. It just opened up on that left wing, and it was taken over the try line to make it 48-0 in this one.
And
I think it's Florence Beattie who scored that. Apologies if I've got that wrong. We don't have necessarily all of the right numbers for the impact subs.
The highest technology here, but it's going very well. But also, I mean, Glasgow's defence there wasn't really much they could do from that driving run there. I believe, was it number 22 that's
yeah, it was number 22
over.
off of the bench for Birmingham who's grabbed the try.
What a brilliant run, and it was a run that deserved a try. And like we said earlier, there wasn't much the Glasgow defence could have done. So it's been so solid in the second half. They held off for 20 minutes for half of that second half. For the third quarter, the score was 0-0, and Glasgow done brilliantly. But Birmingham finally making that breakthrough, and actually I don't think finally is the right word. I think genuinely the game has been very even since the second half, and Birmingham the first to sort of make that attacking breakthrough, which is not necessarily as deserved as it would have been in the first half.
Well, I agree. It's the first piece of space that we've seen anywhere on the pitch in this second half, really. There's not been openings from either defence as the kick falls short.
As Glasgow looking to bounce back now. It's currently 48-0, but I definitely don't think that scoreline is reflected by the performance on the pitch. I think Glasgow's defence deserves a lot more than the 5 tries, 6 tries. 7 tries probably now, actually, that have been conceded.
Yeah, I'm not certain of the amount of tries.
I think it's been 7 tries and 3 conversions for Birmingham, which makes sense. That would add up to 48.
Yeah.
Some quick maths here.
Would it?
Yeah. No, it wouldn't.
35 plus 6 is 41. I think we've seen 1 extra try that is
8
converted.
tries.
So you're challenging a maths student there, so.
8 tries and 4 conversions.
Yeah, I believe so. That sounds right.
The Glasgow girls, to be fair, they're in high spirits, and they should be. They should be buoyed by this performance in the defence.
And they've gained territory there off the kick. Yeah. It's a very good kick from Tony
Scrum
Kerr.
here, which is, just on their 22. It could be an opportunity here. They'll be wanting to have something to show for their good performance that they definitely deserve. They've had their few glimpses in the attacking third, which demonstrates that their scoreline doesn't reflect their performance. As Glasgow put the ball into the scrum, but that's a strong scrum performance from Birmingham. But Glasgow have it driving forward over their 22, but the Birmingham double up, but they just can't take it down. It's a ruck over.
Can Glasgow get the ball out of this ruck here? They can, and now there's space over on the left-hand side if they look for it.
Her player looks to be going down, but that's a brilliant. She sold her the dream, and she fell for it, and she turned inside. Number 12 for Glasgow. On this 22, Birmingham unable to gain the ball back, and Glasgow here just piling on the pressure, building some phases. It's what they need to do.
Yeah, if Glasgow build the phases here,
and that's a brilliant run there.
Will surely open up in this
challenge, but
line.
She gains ground as she comes to the grounds. Number 4 picks it up.
Big hit.
It's a huge challenge. These challenges have been massive this afternoon, and it's been great to see. It's been a brilliant game of rugby here.
Glasgow still just outside the Birmingham 22 as they build the phases here, looking for a gap. Tony Kerr with the fake that gains her a little bit of ground, and Glasgow look to come again.
That's a brilliant offload, but unfortunately
the ball's popped out.
But it's a ruck. Birmingham look back, and the referee believe that's
it's for the knock-on.
A knock-on. And
so we'll see another scrum down.
Scrum. There's been a lot of scrums in this second half. I'm all for it. All for this strong rugby action here, Aidan.
Well, games are won or lost in the forwards, and that's what we've seen in the second half. It's been a forwards game. So many scrums in this second half. A lot of them put in from Glasgow, to be fair, but this one's a Birmingham put in, and they will look to get themselves out of pressure. Maybe get this out of the scrum and look to kick.
Can't wait to see how this scrum comes out, Aidan. The scrums have been arguably the best part of this game.
It's out quickly from the scrum half. And
the tackles have been heavy, and we could see a few more here.
Birmingham look for a set play here.
The unfavourable side of the ground for us to commentate on.
Yeah, a bit of a set play out of the scrum from Birmingham. And
it's loose,
it's gained them a bit of ground, but it's another knock-on. It's a scrum for Glasgow now.
(5:15) here. I believe that's 25 minutes. There's 15 minutes to go here. There's only the 5 points so far in the second half. But that's not to say that there hasn't been some high-level rugby played by either side. Glasgow coming back very strongly and putting in a solid defensive performance. They had a few opportunities on the counter as well, and they had a few phases there, which does show their attacking strength. And Birmingham not as good as they have been in the first half. As there's a scrum, but the referee sees something he doesn't like. He wants them to reset. He tells them to get up. Do it all again, please. I'm not a fan. But what I am a fan of is this game of rugby.
Definitely. As Glasgow will look to put into the scrum.
Very far away from us, so apologies if we make any mistakes. But that's a good, brilliant scrum from Birmingham.
And Birmingham win the penalty. That is a hell of a scrum.
They gained about 10 yards, 5-10 yards, and they've won the penalty. And
they're very proud of their effort in that scrum.
They've finally been able to break that Glasgow resistance, which has been so strong.
That is a huge scrum effort from Birmingham.
And that's a brilliant kick forward as well.
And that'll be a Birmingham line out. And inside 35 metres?
Yeah, about 35 metres,
try line. So that's how to get out of pressure from Birmingham. They've a huge drive in the scrum. And it's led to them now with the ball inside Glasgow's half. And they will look to put the pressure on the team from Scotland. Birmingham just run over their plans for the line-out.
There has been a distinct lack of line-outs in this game.
Definitely, the ball has avoided touch, and that's always good for a good game of rugby because
the action has been very middle-centric, which is great to see.
Yeah, it's been a good game of rugby. Is that line-out's not gone straight. This again, right on the far side for us.
Birmingham will be hoping.
So as it's not gone straight, it'll be Glasgow who now put into the line out.
So Glasgow hoping to have some success from the line out. They can build an attack here, and they do. That's a brilliant win in the air from the Glasgow as they pass it forward.
Loose pass, but it's picked up well. And it's a hell of an offload from Tony Kerr. It's a good tackle as Birmingham look to keep Glasgow penned in.
Pressure on here, right under their own goalpost, so they might have even gained it. They haven't, but Glasgow running away from the ball, hoping to get through. That's a brilliant challenge again.
Huge tackle again as Birmingham look to pin in Glasgow, and that's an important kick clear as Glasgow look to release some of the pressure. Emily McGuinness picks it up and looks to drive.
That's a brilliant challenge from behind though. They'll be proud of that one, looking that back on the live stream.
Birmingham there just piled on the pressure on Glasgow
huge
inside the
drive
22.
forward. They've gained about 5 yards there. Birmingham have with that carry forward, even when she was going down, which is brilliant to see. And this is brilliant rugby here from Birmingham.
And Birmingham switches to the right, but it's knocked on.
Fumbled, and I believe that's gone out, and that'll be another line out after I spoke about the lack of them. We had about 2 and 3 minutes.
Well, it was knocked on, so I think we're going to actually have a scrum down there.
We're not going to have a line out.
Glasgow put in. It's another scrum in this second half.
Been a lot
which
scrums, haven't there?
Yeah, this second half now nearing somewhat of a conclusion. I think we've had about half an hour in this second half. So heading into the final 10 minutes now. Obviously you on the screen can see the time. We're going blind.
Yeah, the moisture is coming down, actually having an impact on our view.
We just base it off old Joe and hope for the best.
It's not the largest freestanding clock tower in the world.
In the world, indeed, yeah.
It's our alarm clock today.
Fill you with a bit of University of Birmingham trivia whilst the ball's not in for all of the Glaswegians on the stream.
Yeah.
And of course anyone else who could be watching the stream.
Thank you for listening to us today. It's been a great. I'm glad you were able to join us for a great game of rugby. There is another injury on the pitch, but she seems to be back up.
Yeah, the quality of rugby is almost making me forget how cold it is out here.
It's not that cold today.
My hands feel like ice, so I don't know what your experience is.
I did the cross commentary last week up at Metchley, and my hands did feel like they were going to fall off at the end, but now I feel all right. My hand is out, and I'm not that cold.
It is a line out, in fact. So
I was right.
Looked like a knock.
But Glasgow win it. Birmingham unable to gain any advantage from that line out, and it's right on the edge. And Glasgow come away with it. They'll be looking to build here, looking to get rid, because they are quite close to their own try line. Birmingham doing well here, putting the pressure on, but it is kicked away, and that will gain the Glaswegians some much deserved pressure, but it's straight back in.
Emily McGuinness driving
through.
For a
hat trick.
Hell of an offload there, and it's over the try line. Brilliant work from Emily McGuinness, driving forward off the kick, and it's a great offload pretty much on the try line.
As Birmingham being up the
to
50
put it over.
They're going to be raising the bat here. That's Birmingham's 9th try.
Unfortunately, 2 Glaswegian defenders down on the ground.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's
it's not nice to see,
serious.
But like I said, Birmingham's 9th try of the afternoon. Glasgow's defence has been impressive, and can't take much away from this inexperienced team. The second half especially has been a credit to themselves. They've played excellently. Birmingham have just shown their quality. It's not a case of Glasgow playing badly. It is a case of Birmingham just playing on the top of their game here at Bournbrook.
It's almost a bit of it's a bit harsh on Glasgow for them to be behind in the second half scoreline, because it's been very even. It's 10-0 to Birmingham in the second half, 53-0 in the game. But Glasgow have really deserved something out of this second half, and Birmingham have just exploited two just 2 moments. In fact, that wasn't even a moment.
That's a hat trick, isn't it?
Well, she actually uploaded it to not her try.
And the kick here is over.
Kick goes over, so now 4.
55-0 for the team again. About 8 minutes left. Other players are still down at complexity. They are plagued with injuries at the moment, hence the sort of debuts of them today. And you wouldn't tell that it's a lot of these girls' first start for their uni. They play brilliant now. The scoreline does not reflect. Their second half performance has been resilient. In some ways, not good in the second place.
Yeah, I'd say it's been extremely even in the second half. That's why I don't think we started particularly leading those by loads of points in the second half. As Tony Kerr was down, but he's back up now. We are still one player down. At the end of this game, down at Bournbrook.
Just wait for Glasgow players hopefully get back up this season. Unfortunately, it looks like the players
It looks like that's going to be the end of her performance from her. Noted that the number 12 did really well for Glasgow, and it's unfortunate that she's gone off.
yeah, I completely agree with that. It's unfortunate that her game fought.
Obviously, it's unfortunate to lose anyone.
55-0 here, Bournbrook. About 5 minutes left to play. Glasgow with the kick. Birmingham in the dominant display. The Glasgow team played better than the scoreline. Right in front of us, pushing down the left. Missing on time. Brilliant challenge right in front of us. A brilliant offload though, but another great challenge there. Right in front of us. You can hear the seriousness. Glasgow are loud in their communication, which is great to see. But that's a great drive forward on Birmingham.
Yeah, it took really well from the kick, actually. A good take, and that's where Birmingham had the momentum.
And what a brilliant drive forward that was from the Birmingham player. And here they have it. That's a great take. Bit up high, above her head, takes it, and Birmingham still have possession here, but Glasgow, like they have been in the second half, strong enough believe they actually gained the ball here, which is credit to their strong defensive performance.
Yeah, just sort of a knock on there, but the hands are not quite strong enough in holding on to the ball from the pass towards the monster. And that's what we've seen a lot in the second half of the amount of scrums. It's just been sheer amount of knock ons. Glasgow forced back a little bit on that left hand side. And goes into
Touch. I believe it will be Glasgow.
Glasgow did very well there. They seem to be under pressure, but they compose themselves. They, in the first half, potentially that could have gone through, but much better second half performance from the Glasgow girls.
Definitely, and they'll look to win possession out of this line out as we tick under 5 minutes left to go, I believe.
Yeah. Game coming to a
and
close.
that line out has not gone straight. Well, the referee had the whistle in his mouth but opted not to blow. But Birmingham come away with possession. It's a loose pass, picked up well and then knocked on surely. And the referee agrees. Knocked on by Birmingham again, so we'll have another scrum down about 20 metres away from us.
I'd say less than that, probably 10.
Okay. Seth's distance perception is better than mine, so it is 10 metres away from us.
And it's about 35 metres away from the Glasgow try line. They will want something to take back to Scotland, and they want something that exemplifies their good performance today. A lot of injuries, so Glasgow have done brilliantly with that in mind. And the referee doesn't like that.
Yeah, we'll reset the scrum here. The referee has been very precise on the scrums. He's done a good job, kept good control of the scrums.
And I think that the highlight of it as well, the referee, they always say if you don't speak about the referee, they've had a good game, which is true. We haven't spoken about the ref because he's played brilliantly.
Definitely. As Glasgow put in here, another big drive from Birmingham,
scrum,
and they
gain
have
about 5 yards. Referee again.
Referee
Getting
decides
involved.
this is going to go again at the scrum. Birmingham's pack just overpowering there, and they actually almost crushed their own side of the scrum and the opposite side, so we're going to go again. Glasgow to put in once again into the scrum.
Here we go. Scrum with the clock ticking down here. Glasgow put in another great scrum, but Glasgow have regained some of that ground that they missed, and
that's a brilliant scrum from
by
Glasgow.
Brilliant comeback after they seem to have lost the scrum, but
it's fumbled on the ground.
There is another Glasgow player on the ground here, slowly getting up, but Birmingham have the ball in their own half.
So we're near the conclusion of this game. Glasgow get it back, but there was a knock-on from Glasgow as the ball was on the ground, fumbled forward, and we'll see another scrum, and hopefully the Glasgow player down is going to be okay, because that was a brilliant drive from Glasgow. It
really was.
They shifted the momentum in that scrum and gained the yards themselves, and that's the best scrum we've seen from Glasgow so far.
And it is testament to Glasgow is that they have been so great in defence, and they have been able to compete in the scrums, and that was just tangible evidence of that. And they've got a lot to take away from this performance. Like we said, the scoreline doesn't necessarily reflect their performance, but that's a pretty run through.
The scrum.
She almost wasn't expecting to get that far. She almost slowed down, ran out of steam. But Birmingham pushing on the right wing here for a final try potentially before the game ends.
Jane Ryan who's in there for her third try as she goes under the posts.
And that's
Jane Ryan touches it down for her third try
of the afternoon, evening. That makes the score 60-0.
And it's Jane Ryan again.
Is that the hat-trick?
That is her hat-trick, yes.
Three tries here for Jane Ryan.
Brilliant performance on that right-hand side. It just opened up out of the scrum. Birmingham put it in and got it out quickly, and the scrum half, donning the 21, with a couple of fakes, got it past a couple of defenders, and then timed the pass right to Jane Ryan, who then carried it across the line and was even good enough to get it under the posts.
This could potentially be the last action of the game here.
Again, we can't see the actual timings.
Yeah, we haven't got a stopwatch, but I have a feeling old Joe on that half past is number 10, fly half Sophie Adams, kicks, converts the try.
And there's the game, 62-0 is the final score here at Bournbrook Pitches. The University of Birmingham getting a win here at home against the University of Glasgow. In the end, on the scoreline, it's an extremely comfortable win. Certainly that's not a fair representation of the game, especially in that second half. At the end, just Birmingham had a little bit too much, I think, for Glasgow in that game. Seth, how would you summarise it?
Oh, I think, Aidan, that was a good performance from Birmingham, a great performance, in fact. I think the scoreline is unfortunate for Glasgow, as it doesn't represent their defensive stability and almost their defensive resilience that we saw today, especially in that second half. Going for long periods where Birmingham just were unable to break them down, and they did have the attacks of their own, which they probably were unfortunate not to convert. I believe that Birmingham played at the top of their game today, and Glasgow just caught them on probably the best day of the season so far. And unfortunately, with a depleted Glasgow team in an extent, with lots of debuts and an inexperienced team, which has absolutely no shame in the scoreline. Birmingham with the 10 tries, absolutely dominated for periods of the game, but also Glasgow did have their moments, and there's nothing to take away from this inexperienced Glasgow team that have a bright future, I believe, and as they play together for longer, then they're definitely going to improve.
And a good show of sportsmanship here as both sides congratulate each other. We've had the handshakes, or the equivalent of handshakes,
or the elbow bumps, what it is now in these times, and Glasgow are going to get a deserved round of applause from the Birmingham. But Birmingham, the story here Birmingham run away with it, 10 tries, no return from Glasgow. As we said, inexperienced, but that's 62-0 at Bournbrook Pitches. Don't forget to join us in about half an hour's time for the live stream of the men's rugby union fixture between Birmingham and Newcastle. You won't want to miss that one. Joe Camp and Bella Shepherd-Evans on commentary. It's a different stream for that one. It's still on the UB Sports Fitness YouTube. I want to thank Aidan for being a brilliant co-commentator today, and thank you everyone that's watched. Great performance from Birmingham, and a resilient defence from the Badgers just wasn't enough today, and Birmingham come home. An unfortunate long trip back for Glasgow, but don't take it away. They deserve some merits, and the round of applause they got from Birmingham at the end. And that's how I'm going to sign out. Don't forget to check out Burn FM. I'm Seth Nobes, Head of Sport. Been joined by Aidan today, and that's it here at the Bournbrook Pitch.
England lost.